So this morning, guys, we are just packing the car. We're heading off to a mural in Sunbury, which is about a 90-kilometre drive from my house. I'm going to be working on this design, which I created on my iPad Pro as per usual. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun mural to work on. Super keen to get started, so I'll finish off packing the car and we'll hit the road.
Morning sunshine.
So this client originally reached out via Instagram. Basically, they were after a mural on this exterior wall that is for their cafe down in Sunbury. As I sort of mentioned at the start of the video, Sunbury is on the opposite side of Melbourne than I am. So because of that, it was a fair drive each day, but the wall itself and the overall project was definitely worth the effort. But basically the client requested that I came up with a design that was portrait based. It was really bright and poppy, and it was also something that they could explore some merch if they wanted to. So with those things in mind, this was the first design and concept that I came up with, and they were super stoked on it, and so was I. Overall, it was a really solid project. Got the wall done in a few days, and yeah, I had heaps of fun with it. This was the first time I sort of painted in this style, this almost like cut out stencil style. But yeah, I had heaps of fun with it, and I definitely would like exploring this sort of avenue or artistic sort of style more in the future. Definitely, I think the colors contrast really nicely on the wall, and it really creates a strong impact when you're passing by on the street. So just gotten home, day 2 on the wall. Had a really successful day today, actually. Got heaps of progress done, had a lot of people stop for a chat and had a lot of positive feedback, which was cool. Just stopped by Bunnings to grab a tin of paint, the blue background. I sort of almost got away with it, but there's a few areas that are a little bit light and sort of a little bit patchy on the top side of the walls. So I just stopped and got a little bit extra so that I can touch that up next week. But yeah, I'm having an absolute ball with this mural. Okay. It's perfect size, the wall, and the texture is nice and smooth as well. So yeah, it's just been really good to work on. Been lucky with the weather. The only drag has been the drive. Just took me pretty much bang on 2 hours to get home, so that sucks, especially the freeway. Just the traffic is an absolute nightmare. But yeah, so far so good. Really stoked with the progress, and I'll see you next week and we'll get this one finished off. So I really tried to think about how I was going to approach this painting before I started, and sort of think about the order in which I was going to paint things, just to sort of minimize the amount of layers that I was going to have to paint. And also, because the colors are really quite vibrant, I also wanted to start with that neutral grey tone and work sort of from light to dark, so to speak. So just making sure that I wasn't painting any sort of like really bright colors over the top of dark colors, just to sort of overall save time and, as I said, paint. So mainly I just worked from light to dark, and then leaving the background, as you're seeing now, sort of towards the very end. And when working on the background, I tend to just sort of cut in around the edges with my brush and then just roll it out with paint rollers. And yeah, so I'm just making sure that I get nice consistent colors across the entire piece. This section down the bottom, originally it was going to be blank, and then it was going to be coffee time, I think. And then the client also decided that they wanted to incorporate some of the branding, so we went for Crash Cafe. And the idea of that was just so that if people do happen to take photos in front of it or of it, it has some of the branding of the actual cafe itself in there as well, just for a little bit of exposure. So about here, I thought I was pretty much wrapping up the painting. I was going to come back the following day for just a few minor touch-ups, as you can see here. But the client actually came out on this day and mentioned that the landlord didn't really like the blue, and so we had to change it. So we knocked the background back to this neutral grey, and we decided to continue the sort of flowing hair around the left side of the building and then sort of down to the ground, just to sort of tie things in a little bit nicer, and I don't know, just to sort of create that additional element of sort of design, I guess. And that's pretty much going to bring us to the end of this video. I had an absolute blast with this wall. I really enjoyed the design, and also working on the street. I had a lot of good chats with the community and received a lot of good feedback. But yeah, for now that's it. It's probably going to be the last video for this year, I'd imagine. We've got Christmas, and then I'm going away camping for a few days over the New Year's period. But I've got quite a few jobs lined up at the start of January, so I'll see you then, and have a good New Year's and Christmas.